والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا التعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدنيا وصافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب الصافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب الصافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المكنون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم مكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، وارزقنا اللهم نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد المأمون على العلم المضمون والفهم المكنون من سر الكاف والنون وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، ورزقنا نصيبا وافرا من سر قولك إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون في كل لحظة أبدا عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومن كلماته. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We are continuing with our class, right? So we stop on 4th of October, right, on the part about the major signs, right? The signs about the major, middle, and minor signs. That is where we stopped the last lesson. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. This week there have been quite a few major events happening, and the whole point of it, the highlight, is that when these major events happen around us, whether it be natural, like a natural disaster, or it be something that is, from human society, that what the teaches us to do is to read these events, right? To read these events from the lens of the religion. This is what we want to do. And the whole point of fiqh is to have, not is to make us not have events just go not to have events often not to have events just go past us with us being oblivious, by being completely unaware of what is going on. As we believe, as Muslims, we believe, and necessarily so we have to believe that our religion covers every single aspect of our existence, our life, every single thing our religion, covers. Right. So when we ask about what's going on right now, in Palestine, right, against Israel, you ask which part of our religion actually speaks about this. Right, which part of our religion speaks about this? Right, so it's not under Iman, it's not under Islam, it's not under Ihsan, it is under the last portion or the last pillar of our religion. It's under the pillar of a science at the end of time. Right, as she falls under there. Right, so you see, everything in our religion, right? Everything in our religion actually, is everything in our existence, everything in our existence is explained by our religion. Right? It is explained. But it's just that we have to go into this. Subhanallah, our teacher was informing us the other day that Habib Abu Bakr, when he went to Jordan, and is it really, they blocked the Yemenis from entering into Syria or entering into Palestine. Right? They're very suspicious of the Yemenis, right? So they could go to Jordan. Right? So when he went to Jordan, he actually met with the scholars there. He actually met with the scholars, not of Jordan, but the scholars of Syria, the scholars of Palestine. He met with the scholars there because they needed to know this knowledge, and they were the most. It was the most important for them, right, to actually know this knowledge that he had written, and the books that he had written, and he had taught them. He had taught the scholars, of Palestine, scholars of Syria, right, and they are in their countries teaching, right? They are teaching their people, right, about this knowledge, because they are in the heart of it, and they will be in the heart of it, right? They will be in the heart of it, right? So they need to know, and they said to Habib Abu Bakr that it's as if Allah sent you, right, to write down this just for us. Like Allah sent you to write down all of this knowledge just for us. This knowledge is for us here in Palestine, is for us here in Sham, in Syria. And subhanAllah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them for the patience that they have to, the difficulty they have to endure, the patience they go through, the plight that they go through. She was saying that that it is known, in fact, it is known that Palestine will not receive freedom. I hope you all know what I'm talking about. Nobody here is blur. If you're blur what I'm talking about, then you need to know what's going on right now, right? So basically, Palestine is fighting back, right? It's fighting back, right? They are fighting back. They're bullies, right? They're being bullied. They've been being bullied for decades now, right? For more than 50 years, more than 50 years being bullied. Palestine, right, being their homes, having their homes taken away from them and then stolen from them, right? They actually used to, embrace the settlers coming in, after the World War, right? And then now they're being completely trampled all over, right? They're fighting back, right, against their bullies. And this is basically what's going on. They're fighting back, right, against their bullies, right? And we asked our teacher, it's very interesting. It's very, it is, heartbreaking. 150 years, it's 150 years. It's so heartbreaking that I think most of us here, we never knew of a Palestine that was without war, right? Most of us say we're below 50 years old. Like we're not 50. Most of us are in our 30s, our 20s, our 40s. Like we never knew of a Palestine that was, in his golden years, flourishing with scholarship and knowledge, right? Religious knowledge flourishing there. It used to be a place people go and study Islam. Subhanallah. And but anyway, in fact, right? And this really just in a sense to also make us understand what's going on, right? So when we learn fiqh tahawulat, we should learn that Palestine will only get its freedom at the hands of the Mahdi. Only. Only. They will only get their freedom at the hands of the Mahdi. It will not happen before the Mahdi comes. It will not happen. So this is known. This is known. It's prophesized. It's prophesized. It's known. This Jerusalem, Palestine, they will only gain their freedom at the hands of the of the Mahdi. So we actually asked our teacher. We asked her, then why do they fight? They know that they can never, get their freedom. They can never get their freedom before the Mahdi comes. So why do they fight? And she said, this is the honor that Islam places in the person's heart. It's an honor that they have an izz bil Islam. Right? They have an honor and dignity in them. Right? They won't let themselves be bullied like that. And it's an honor that's inside of them. This honor that's inside of them. Right? They won't be bullied and pushed around in that way. Right? And there is an izz that Islam brings, an izz, and she said, and وَهَذَا يَكُنْ حُجَّةً أَمَامَ اللَّهِ لَهُمْ. Right? It is their proof in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they tried to fight. They tried. They never just sat there and let themselves be oppressed. Right? They actually tried to fight their oppressors. And it can be a proof on the day of judgment. In front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a proof. In front of Allah subhanahu on the day of judgment. And Allah subhanahu knows their plight, and Allah knows what's going on there in Palestine. And then you are thinking, to ourselves, like, with regards to ourselves, like what have we struggled for our religion? Would we struggle? And will we struggle for our religion? Right? Some like we get so easily, we give up so easily with regards to being able to praise our religion. Like you go somewhere and someone says to you, oh, you can't praise Zohar, you're not allowed to praise Zohar. Okay, khalas, I don't praise Zohar. I mean, subhanAllah, like we get so easily, we give up our religion so easily. Subhanallah, what our proof Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as how much we struggle for our religion. Do you struggle to cover your aura? Do you struggle to pray 5 times a day prayer? Do you struggle right to uphold the laws of your religion? Right? Do we struggle? Subhanallah. So hujjah, do we have an argument, or do you have a proof of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the judgment of how we are and what we've been doing in our zaman? And we've been giving in so much to the ma'asiyah, to the sins of our zaman, giving in, watching all this stuff that's online, that's on YouTube, that's on Netflix. It's not even to the point whereby we're being forced, not to praise our religion. Like we in this lens, and it's like lens of the lens of no war, right? But we have a whole moral war going on with us, right? And we just give in. Oh, it's just normal. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's watching it. Everybody. Right? What's your struggle? Where is your struggle? Right? The whole everybody has Netflix. Everyone's watching this, everyone's watching that. My children in school, all of their friends listen to this pop or whatever music, I don't know, all this K-pop and all this, whatever nonsense. So therefore, if they don't do it, they'll be left out and whatever. Subhanallah, where is our struggle? And we look at Palestine and we're like, oh, pity them. They're probably looking at us and say, oh, pity these guys. Like they have akhirah over there. And we are we're just feeding our dunya. And some of them, and inshallah that when you go through the course, inshallah the book, there are of the tafsirs in Abu Bakr, he does of the Quran, and he will explain inshallah in the next chapter. He will explain how the principles of tafsir, when taking Quranic verses, to be used for the science of fiqh tahawulat. What are the guidelines? What are the parameters? What can you do with regards to, because he has his own tafsir, whereby he does tafsir of these verses. That is you say a fresh tafsir, because the Quran is not changed throughout time. The Quran is interpreted. Yeah, it is interpreted by the time. Time will interpret Quran as how it is to be interpreted in that time. Right? So, but there are boundaries, there are guidelines, so that you don't fall into misguidance and you don't fall into disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they don't fall into saying what Allah did not say in His Quran. محمد رسول الله. حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة وأشرف وسلم. يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم نسأل العفو والعافية والدامة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. الفاتحة على رسولنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. ويا رسول بلال بن رباح المختوم وقل ما أنا الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا هم الضالين. آمين. It was our Asar Azan. So early Asar now, really winter. 2 o'clock, 2:55 it is Asar already. Subhanallah. Jadi winter. Tamam. Okay, so what was I saying? Now, right, so what was I saying? Now, right, so we look at this situation, like in the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the dunya, it is the paradise of the is the jail of the believer and the paradise of the believer. The dunya, right, is a prison of a believer and it is the paradise. So the dunya is a prison of the believer and the paradise of the disbeliever. And look at our lives. Let's look at our lives. I see what is the struggle that we're going through, like, for our religion, and how much of sin have we given in regards to our religion. Subhanallah. So anyway, so we're just mentioning this a point about what's going on, and so she was saying that it is their honor, and their dignity that they fight back. They won't just let themselves be bullied, and it's their portion, it is their, it is their quest, but it is known, and they know it also. They know that Palestine will not be freed, and they will not be freed of the clutches of Israel till the coming of the Mahdi. And when the coming of the Mahdi will destroy and whatever Israel had erected, right then, and even Israel knows about it. Even Israel knows, right? Israel knows that they were going to be destroyed by the Mahdi. They are also aware. They know this knowledge very well. They know it. And then one of my classmates asked, then why does Israel do what they do? And the answer is the same reason why Fir'aun did what he did. Right? Fir'aun knows that there was going to be a boy from Bani Israel who was going to kill him, destroy his kingdom, but he still went around killing all the bits. But he knew there was, you can't change the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't. Right? So even Israel knows that they're going to be brought down. They will be brought down by the Mahdi. They know it. They know this knowledge very well. The enemies of Islam know this knowledge very well. Right? They know they're going to be brought down. They know it. Right? But why do they still do what they do? This is the way they are. That's just the way they are. They like that, right? And the same thing with Fir'aun. Fir'aun knew there's going to be a boy that's going to destroy him, and he went around killing all the human beings. And he went around twice. He brought up the very baby boy that was going to destroy this entire kingdom. And by the irony of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Nabi Musa under the nose of Fir'aun. Allah does whatever He wants to do. Right? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And last you went through one of the tafsir of Surah Al-Hashr. Right? In degree, right? And this is a part whereby Allah speaks about the Jews in time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they all these mighty fortresses, and they thought themselves to be impenetrable, completely strong against the Muslims. They thought themselves to be that way, but Allah subhanahu wa taala caused them to be abolished, right? To be completely expelled from Medina, and then one of the tribes of the Jews was completely executed. Right? So it was like, so in the tafsir of this says that it was mentioned that they think, in fact, it's in the verse itself, they think that they are invincible. They think they are invincible. They think that they can bring them down. They think, and in fact, people around see it as that. They see it as, look at the Jews. Look at Israel's military. It's so impenetrable. It's so invincible. It's so powerful. One of the best in the world they have. And look at Palestine. What do they have? They have stones and rocks. And they make their weapons from scraps. And what do they have? And people will be like, it's impossible. This is it's a battle. It's impossible. Why are you trying? Why are they even trying to fight back? They're like scratching Israel. They're not doing anything then scratching them, and then making Israel make a big fuss about this. When they have killed so much in Palestine. I think you can go online, you can find all the real statistics, of how many lives that they have slaughtered in Palestine, and how it has been from the first time they came to Jerusalem till today, how they have just occupied land after land after land, and they could not care less. They don't care. They don't care. The entire world condemns it, but they don't care. The UN tries to speak to them. They don't care about the UN, right? But Allah is above the matter. Now in Surah Hashr, we were going to it yesterday, or last week, we're going to Surah Hashr. Allah is above this matter. Allah is above this matter, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will, when in the Quran, Allah says Allah will the disbelievers do what they do, right? Allah will let them do what they do. Then when it's time to seize them, right, Allah will seize them and He will never let go. And then He will grab them, right? And then they will be destroyed, right? So subhanallah, in fact, how we learn that all those things are happening, right? It is coming, right? It does give us a sense of comfort, also a sense of guidance, and also it makes us wake up, right? Wake up to the matter, right? It's not far off. The Mahdi coming is not far at all. It could be in our lifetime. It could be in the lifetime of our children. We could see the Mahdi, or our kids see the Mahdi. Right? It's not that far. It's not that far at all. At all. Right? And with the passing of Habib Adni, right, even more people are getting into a higher alert as to the events is going on in this world. Allahu Alam, how quickly this thing will unfold right before our very eyes. When the comes, right? Make sure you've not been consuming the from the hands of the Dajjal, right? Because the animal that consumes the hand of the one that feeds them follows him, right? That's why how animals behave. Human beings behave the same way. Whoever feeds you, follow that person. So we've been feeding from the hands of the Dajjal with the media, right? With the internet, right? With the movies, with the music, and you refuse to wake up and you refuse to stop it, and then don't think it's going to be that easy. When the Mahdi appears, that you'll be able to, I'm going to follow the Mahdi. Don't think it's going to be that easy. Right? The Mahdi is going to break away. It's not going to be on a lot of things that we are on right now, with regards to our addictions. And may Allah give us understanding. Okay, right. So I said, we are here. Okay, right. So the major, middle, and minor signs of the last day. Last year I went through about what are the so the minor signs begin with the coming down of Nabi Adam alayhi salam, and it will continue all the way till the blowing of the horn. Okay, so the minor signs, they begin with the coming down of Nabi Adam, right, from paradise to the earth, right, the sending down of Nabi Adam alayhi salam, the beginning of the khilafah of the human beings on earth until the blowing of the horn. And minor signs, right, they come and go, they manifest, they disappear, right? So this will happen throughout. And then the middle signs, they begin with the rising of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That means the bi'athah, or the revelation. to our beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It begins there and it ends with the second Sufyani. And inshallah, as we go through, we're going to speak about who is this first Sufyani and the second Sufyani. There are two of them, right? First and second Sufyani, right? The second Sufyani will be in the same time as Mahdi. So right now we are waiting for the first Sufyani, right, to manifest, right, to show himself, right, and then after the first Sufyani, second Sufyani, the second Sufyani will manifest during his reign, right. The Mahdi will appear, right, and then he will there is this entire narration of what happens with him and the Mahdi, right, and the Mahdi will also the Mahdi will free Palestine, like when he appears eventually, the Mahdi will meet Nabi Isa at Syria. Syria has the mosque, Jami' Umawi. The Umayyad mosque in Syria, there's a white pillar. And it's a white pillar where some say that Isa bin Maryam, he will come down on the wings of angels on that white pillar. Right? And he'll come down at Fajr, in the morning at Fajr, and he'll find the Mahdi about to lead the prayer with his jaysh, with his entire army, in the Umayyad mosque. Right? And then he will come, and the Mahdi will want for him to be the Imam because he's a prophet. Right? But he will, push the Mahdi forward to be the Imam because the Mahdi is a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from both his mother and his father. And so the Mahdi is from both sides, descendant of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? And then they will pray Fajr. Then they will set out and they will look for the Dajjal. And the Dajjal, from just by looking at Nabi Isa alayhi salam, the Dajjal will begin to literally like the Arabic word, he will begin to dissolve. Dajjal begins to dissolve at the very sight of Nabi Isa. It's not going to be a battle also. It's a battle. And the battle happens before that. Right? But at the very sight, right, of Nabi Isa, the Dajjal begins to dissolve. And in fact, she was mentioning it was the end of time whereby the plants, right, and the rocks will say to the believers, right, oh, behind me there is this believer, behind me there's a Jew, behind me there's a Christian, and the believers will go and find them out. There's a hadith about that, right? And so subhanallah, they know about this hadith, right? They know about the tree of Gharqad, saying that the tree of Gharqad apparently does not alarm them, and so now they're planting a lot of these trees of Gharqad, right, all around. So all these things will come in time. And it will come in time. We will be studying all of them, inshallah. Right? Right now where we're at, our main concern will be the minor and the middle signs, because this minor and middle signs, right, it really would determine which side you'll be on the moment the major signs begin to appear. Right? And so the major signs begin with the coming of the Mahdi. Okay, so the first of the major sign is the coming of the Mahdi. There's going to be a domino effect, right, all the way down to the blowing of the horn, right, and that's it. The entire dunya ends, and the whole matter is settled, is finished, right, and then the day of judgment begins. Right, so you can see how close we are. We're actually very close. Right, we're just waiting for the last of the middle signs to happen, which is the Sufyanis, right, and then thereafter, khalas, Mahdi. Mahdi appears, and Mahdi is very high chances that either we see him or our children will see him, maybe our grandchildren will see him. So it's why it's an amana. It's an amana, a trust that every generation takes this knowledge and passes it to the next generation. It has been going on since the time of Rasulullah to our time. Right? The Sahaba, they took this knowledge, right? Did not concern them. A lot of them didn't concern them, but they took it and they passed it on to the next generation and all the way down to our generation. Right? And now Allah has sent Ashab Abu Bakr to put this together for us to study. Right? So we have to take this knowledge and to pass it down to the next generation, right, of human beings. Okay, so continuing from the statements here, right? So وما يترتب على دراستها من معرفة علم فقه التحولات وسنتيه المعروفتين بسنة المواقف وسنة الدلالة خطة لتجديد فقه الدعوة إلى الله بالحكمة والموعظة حسنة علمية لثوابت الفقه الأصول وأوعيته العدول. تمام. Right, so here in the Asia, right, so which discusses, so it also addresses what is achieved by studying them, right, by studying, the signs of the Day of Judgment. Last week I mentioned about how the signs have been classified, right, all the while, right? So it's been classified. So the scholars who classify the signs as minor, middle, and major. Habib has brought a new classification, and with classification, things become clearer and studies become more structured, and solution can be found more easily. Like if you know how to classify something correctly, it all goes down to classification. Right. So Habib has classified the two pillars of the end of time, which is a destruction in knowledge and in aqidah, in belief, in knowledge, in belief. This will be on a personal level. Every single human being will be facing this. As I was going to say just now, there's some of the mashayikh and some of the mashayikh in Palestine, right? And there are people who stay in Palestine. They refuse to leave the land of Palestine. They will stay there to their last breath. They will stay there. There are people who are like that, and this is actually, it's really so, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like, in the time of Rasulullah, he was Sayyidina Bilal. And Sayyidina Bilal is a slave. And he was dragged by his master, Umayyah bin Khalaf, like to the middle of the desert. And then he was made to lie down. It's a very, very popular story, like, of Sayyidina Bilal. Sayyidina Bilal was made to lie down on the hot, burning sand of the desert, bareback. He had no shit on him. Like, and then a huge rock was placed on the chest of Sayyidina Bilal to press him down to the hot burning sand, right? And then he was whipped the entire time, like forced to say, to believe in the idols. And the entire time Sayyidina Bilal was there, very calm, saying Ahad, Ahad, saying one God, one God, one God. When you look at this entire scenario, you're seeing Umayyah bin Khalaf, this huge bully, right? This huge, really disgusting man, right? This huge bullying Bilal so badly. He's torturing Bilal so badly. And Sayyidina Bilal, a slave, hardly budging. He's not budging. He's just there and he's saying Ahad and Ahad. He's not moving. In this scenario, right, Umayyah bin Khalaf was completely humiliated. Right, so you see, it's an axe going on, it's the opposite going on. You might think Bilal is being humiliated. No, Bilal is actually being exalted. People are watching on, and the Muslims and non-Muslims, they were watching this, and they were laughing at Umayyah bin Khalaf. They were actually laughing at him because he was so pathetic. Like, he was trying to force Bilal on saying something, on saying the word of disbelief. Right, but Bilal, Bilal, he refused. And where is the honor here now? Is there honor and dignity with Umayyah bin Khalaf? No. But is there honor and dignity with Bilal under the rock? Completely. But there was full honor and dignity with Bilal under the rock. And people were laughing at Umayyah bin Khalaf because he was making a fool of himself. And Bilal just like there with his full dignity under the rock. Whether he refused to give in to the bullying of this bully. Subhanallah, he refused it. Similarly, you can see what's going on right now in Israel and Palestine. They're trying to force them out of the land. They're trying to force them. But no, there will always be people there who will refuse to leave. They will stand their ground. I used to wonder when I was young, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just leave and just go to another country? But as many of them have done. And many of them have actually left and gone to other countries. Right? They have migrated, they are refugees. Like, why don't they just leave? Why are there people who are still there? Because they have honor. It's their land. It's their land. They have honor, and dignity. They will not let go. Right? Subhanallah. So one of the mashayikh was saying that, that he was saying that, we prefer to be in this land in the difficulty that they're in, because above, all of the military, oppression they're going through, they are going through on a daily basis, economical oppression. Right? In the economy, they're going through oppression, right? Severe oppression, right? When it comes to just a livelihood. It's a livelihood, buying food, getting food, just getting some job, getting some work, and so on and so forth. It is very, very difficult. The dunya we sense to live there. So the Mashayikh was like, they were like, there are people who have left, but when they leave, look at what happened to their kids. Their kids left Islam. And actually, it's quite bad. It's a lot. And those who have left Syria, left Palestine, left Iraq. They left Iraq. They left, different all these countries that were afflicted with war. When they leave and they go to non-Muslims, lands, the people, the parents especially, didn't know what to expect. Right? And so many of them were swept up by the fitna that was going on in non-Muslim lands, in the Western lands. And so many of them left their religion. So many. And then unfortunately, they left their religion. They have forgotten their religion, they've forgotten. The Shia was like, we stay here and our kids are strong believers. Yeah, our kids are strong believers, wherever they are. And like those who have gone to Western lands, what are your kids doing? And where is their iman? And where is their aqidah? What is important to them right now? May we all be aware, of all these things. And there are several of the Palestinians and Syrians who are here in Tarim, and they fled the Tarim. Tarim has no dunya. Tarim is all just, a lot of sand and desert and cut in our electricity, But there are of the Syrians and Palestinians who have fled to Tarim. Right? They at least they a Muslim land. I know many of them went to Malaysia as well, and they fled to Malaysia. Right? They're looking for Muslim lands, many for those who fled. So anyway, so saying that, like he was just saying that, where are your children? Right? Because of the science, right, is that there will be a destruction, right, in the knowledge and the aqidah, right, of Muslims on a personal level, then on a more state level or a global level, right, a destruction in governance and in or corruption in governance and in economy. And the two pillars of التحولات. Tamam. Okay. Okay. Right. So understanding right, the science of social and global changes. Right. So to understand the science of social and global changes, the two main causes of action related to it. Right. So in every case is مترتب على دراستها من معرفة علم فقه التحولات. Right. So also what we have to understand in understanding the knowledge of fiqh التحولات, or the understanding of changes. Right. So to understand changes and what's going on. Okay, and really, what happened to us in the past few years when it regards to COVID, right? This will be a global change. These are things that affect how that makes us understand, right? Things that are global, that affect everybody, and you couldn't even escape it. You could not. This is how scary it is. This is how scary it is. We could not escape it. That you're forced into conformity. You're forced, right, to do what they want you to do. You're forced into it. We were all forced into it, and you could not break away. You could not. And that should shake us as Muslims, because they could literally do whatever they want to do, right, in forcing us into things, and they could get away with it. They can, right? And subhanallah, so maybe be strong in our faith. That towards the end of time, right, food, right, will be held by Dajjal. He will hold food. And so whoever wants food will have to submit to him, Dajjal. So what do the believers do at that time? The believers, the Mahdi, what do? Right? They actually do dhikr. And they are nourished by the dhikr. Physically, this is not like this is physically, they are nourished by dhikr. They cannot give in to the threat of Dajjal that he's going to hold food away from them. Right? So they will not take his food. They will not eat from his hand. Right? But they will begin to do dhikr in abundance. That is why you see the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're trying to push us into abundant dhikr. And every year he will do this. Like, do your salawats in abundance. Do your salawat in abundance. You need to learn to be sufficed with dhikr. You need to learn this. But we don't. We're just so dependent on food, so dependent on things, so dependent on the physical, that we no longer, go towards dhikr. At the end of time, people of dhikr, they are the ones who will be successful. The people of dhikr. So may all this come into our mind and come into our heart. And that is also why the whole thing is all planned out. That is why we have phone 7 with all these videos with us. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have all this, Twitter and whatever, to stop the dhikr. That's basically it. It's just to stop the dhikr. So you're free, you're waiting for someone to come, you flip out your phone and you've been scrolling. Why don't you go and get your tasbih and take your counter and start doing your dhikr? Like, why must the first thing that we do when we are bored or when we are weak or when we're idle is flip out the phone and begin scrolling? Why? Subhanallah. And so you see, so many things have been done to stop human beings from doing dhikr, and then also so many things have been done, right, to remove the yaqeen in the hearts of Muslims, right, in the power of dhikr. Right? And it's really powerful, and dhikr is more powerful than any military equipment out there. Dhikr. And that goes from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The best of them is the one who does the most dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of this will come in. And to the end of time, they are destroying our dhikr. And they have destroyed even amongst Muslims, you can see very clearly right now there are people out there talking about how we can't just rely on dhikr because their iman in dhikr is so weak. No aqidah in dhikr, right? No belief in dhikr. Right? They have such weakness in the dhikr. Right? They have to fight. You're gonna fight. We're not gonna fight with equipment. We're not gonna fight with weapons. The fight is gonna be with your aqidah, with your iman. That is why 313 Muslims could fight 1,000 disbelievers at Badr. That was why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes very clear in the Quran. It was because of the strength of the iman that one Muslim can fight 10 kafir. Because of why? Not because of their military equipment, not because of their weapons. No, because of their iman. Because of their iman. There's a very famous story. I think it was I can't remember which community it was. I think it was the Mongolians or one of the communities that wanted to go and attack the town of the Muslims. So they sent spies over, right? And when the spies came, right, the leader said to them, go to their masjids in the morning at Fajr. Okay, and look at the crowd there. If the masjid is full, it's not time for us to strike. They're very strong, right? And so they judged the strength of the Muslims by how many people were in the masjid at Fajr. That was the entire Jama'ah at Fajr, right? So they were like, how many people there at Fajr? That is how strong they are. So every now and then the spies will come back and report to the leaders. It's a true story. I think one of the events in the history of Islam, right? And they will report to the leader, right? They're still having a full masjid. It's a full masjid. So sometime, right, these people began to put in a lot of corruption in society, and they began to introduce like a lot of, you would say, folly, a lot of entertainment, a lot of fun and plays and acting and song and whatever, and this weakened the Muslims to the point so many of them could not even wake up to go to the masjid for Fajr anymore. So after some time, there was only less than one saf left at the masjid for Fajr. From a full masjid of Fajr of people at Fajr, it was left to less than a saf. They couldn't make one saf, couldn't make one row. So the spies went to the leader and said that today, right, the Fajr Jama'ah was less than a saf. They couldn't make one saf. Then the leader said, no time for us to attack. We'll wipe them out. Right? They are very weak. Right? They are very weak. Right? This is how, and they attacked and they conquered the Muslims. So they judge, even the non-Muslims know, they judge the strength of the Muslims by their ibadah. If their ibadah is pathetic, then khalas, they're easily wiped out. But if their ibadah is strong, there's no way around this. SubhanAllah. So for us to understand, right, that it does go into all these things. It does. Right? Fiqh halal is nothing new. It's nothing new. But it's just that people don't believe the seriousness, of having very little dhikr. They don't believe the seriousness of having, an aqidah, an i'tiqad, a strong conviction, strong belief, right, in what our Prophet ﷺ has taught us in salawat and in dhikr. They don't understand the seriousness of the matter. They think it's something on the tongue that you just say and that's it. No. This is basically what would be the factor, right, that would cause for us as Muslims to attain victory or to be defeated. Right? The factor of dhikr. Right? Just in the dhikr. In fact, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, right, about the believers that it is that when they became weak in their iman, and when Islam began to spread and they became weak in their iman, then they couldn't fight the disbelievers anymore. They couldn't. Right? They couldn't because the iman became weak. Right? And they relied on their numbers, but the numbers meant nothing. And because what brings victory is iman Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and aqidah. Subhanallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us. Okay, alhamdulillah. Today I have to finish a bit earlier, but I need to go to start moving a bit more. Okay, but I have to finish a bit earlier because I have an appointment to get to. Just today. Then next week, inshallah, we'll be back to normal. Okay, so we have there's two very beautiful sciences, right, in fiqh tahawulat, right, that he's mentioning here. We will go more into it in detail, right, in the chapter 4 specifically for them, and these are two sunnahs. Okay, this we have number 5. So we are number 5, Amira. Yes, number 5. So number 5, you label on okay, the prophetic stances and prophetic indicative instructions. Okay, that's number 5. Okay, namely the two main calls of action related to it, namely the prophetic stances and prophetic indicative instructions. That is called Sunatul Mawaqif and Sunatul Dalala. Okay, Sunatul Mawaqif and Sunatul Dalala. Right, so basically in our religion, right, we have, when it comes to the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when it comes to usul and when it comes to the foundations of our religion, right, the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam come in 3 ways. Right, the 3 ways in which the sunnahs come are, the first way is aqwalihi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning his words. Okay, his words. So for example, before he would, when he wake up, he will say asbahtu mulk lillah walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin, or asbahna mulk lillah walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. These are specifically his words, right? That becomes sunnah for us to say every morning. Okay, things like before he sleeps, he will say Allahumma says it, Allahumma inni wadatu jambi, bismillah wadatu jambi, bismillah arfa'ahu, faghfirli dhanbi. That is one of his du'as before he goes to bed. So that is qawli. Qawli meaning something specific that he says, that is recorded, that we copy, right, becomes a sunnah. Okay. Then we have the sunnah that is fi'li, from his af'al, from his actions. So for example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would enter the house with his right foot. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would sit and drink. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would, so the Sahaba would describe him, they would describe him, right, and his movements. So no words are being said, right, but his way, his behavior, right, what he would do, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, that becomes part of his sunnah, is af'al. Okay, af'al, his actions. And then you have a third type of sunnah. It's all well known in the science of fiqh, of usul, right? The third type of sunnah is taqrirat, right? So whereby are his approvals. So he didn't say it, nor did he do it, but it happened in front of him and he approved it. All right. So, for example, Sayyidina Bilal, alayhi salam, anhu, Sayyidina Bilal, when Rasulullah said to him, "Oh Bilal, I hear your footsteps in paradise. What is it that you do that has caused you, right, to go ahead into paradise?" Right. And Sayyidina Bilal said, "I don't know, Ya Rasulullah, but the only thing I can think of is that whenever I break my wudu, whenever I hadath to, and whenever I break my wudu, I go into hadath, I would take my wudu and pray 2 rak'ats." And Rasul said, that is what has caused for you, O Bilal, to go ahead in paradise, right? Your footsteps are in paradise right now, right? So it's not his actions nor his words, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it was the actions and the actions of Sayyidina Bilal, and he approved it. He approved of what Sayyidina Bilal did, right? In that he will always take wudu after he would go into hadath, and he will pray 2 rak'ats. So till today we have something called sunnah wudu, right? Sunnah wudu, did it come from Rasulullah? No, it came from Bilal, from Sayyidina Bilal, right? So these are 3 types of sunnahs that is well known in our religion. These are 3 types that are well known. It has been it's studied for generations in our religion, right? The words, the actions, the approvals of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Habib al-Qadani, he has put in 2 more types of sunnahs. 2 more types of sunnahs that are important for us to understand, especially in the end of times. Especially in the end of times, we must understand these 2 sunnahs. Why? Because many things will happen to us in the end of times that we do not find an example, right? Or not an example. We do not find exactly the similitude of it in the time of Rasulullah. And they can't be, because we live in a different zaman. Right? So we find a lot of stuff in our zaman that did not exist at all in the time of Rasulullah. And so how are we supposed to deal with these things? How do we react to it? Right? What is the sunnah of these things? Right? So is there a sunnah way around this? Right? So from there, we learn stances. And stances are basically principles. Right? So principles laid out by the Prophet ﷺ. And you see, with principles, you mentioned in the first lesson of the Muqaddimah, with principles, you have timelessness. If you can understand principle, then these principles are to be applied in any zaman, in any time frame. But if you have specific strict rulings like that, right? Of course, in Islam we do have that as well, and these are timeless as well, right? Then you have these specific strict rulings. But with principles, when you have events that happen to you that are like way out of your imagination, or like really, really something you cannot find something similar in the zaman or in the laws of Islam to figure out what to do. Right, with distinguished events, because it's so different because of the time difference, or the era that we're in. Then you're going to look at the principles, right? The principles left behind by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, for you to know that if what is what you're doing, is that correct? Is that guided? Is it a sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Even though he never did it, never said it, never had an approval about it specifically, but he left behind a principle that backs it up. Right, so he has left behind principles. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. There's the first one. The second one is indicative instructions. So he has also left behind indicative instructions. So it's not from his actions, not from his words, not from his approvals, but he indicated certain things. Right. So for example, the caliphate of Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Right? The caliphate of Sayyidina Abu Bakr was an indication from Rasulullah. He didn't say it, he didn't do it, there was no approval whatsoever from him, but he indicated. He gave many signs, many hints as to who will be the next Khalifa. There's one example, right? Inshallah, I'll be more examples in the future. Right? Stances will be like, for example, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, saying to the saying to the Muslims when they were being oppressed in Mecca, whereby he said to them, "Go to Habsha." Right, go to Habsha, you will find a just king over there. It's a good king over there. Go to Habsha, you'll find safety there. Right. So, why is a stance is a principle that if things become very difficult for you to apply your religion or to practice a religion, then you are allowed to leave in our religion, to leave, to go to a place, even to a non-Muslim land, whereby you find peace and security. Right. So you say, but isn't that what he did? No, what he did was, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was say, go to Habsha specifically. So you want to follow that specific, action for Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then it's specifically Habsha, specifically Abyssinia. So of course not, but there's a principle behind it. The principle is that you can go to a non-Muslim land to live there if you are living in security, and you can and you're allowed to practice a religion. You can go there. Right, so there's a principle behind it. See that? There's a principle there. And inshallah, I'll speak a bit more about this in the next lesson, about understanding these two added sunnahs, or two added types of sunnahs to the entire structure of Islam. Right, which is Sunnatul Mawaqif and Sunnatul Dalala, right, to the tree that we already know that has formed our fiqh. So now fiqh Tahawul has its own set of sunnahs that is derived, right, from the 23 years of prophethood of the life of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So I'll start for today, inshallah. As I mentioned, today I have to go off somewhere. So next lesson, again, same time, 7:30 Singapore. But next we will go on next lesson, inshallah. Barakallahu fikum wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. I do apologize. I know I'm crawling through this, but I hope it gives people, a deeper understanding, and that you are getting it, inshallah, right, as we explain every single line, right, like thoroughly, inshallah. Right. So and inshallah, we're going through this muqaddimah, the other lessons will be easier, right, to understand, and then the other books will open up really much faster. Right. So this is the beginning part that I'm really, ironing out a lot of stuff, right, combing a lot of stuff, right? But as we go on further, because a lot of things have been explained, it will be faster, right, for us to gain this knowledge, inshallah, quickly, right, inshallah, right, as we change our lives, right, towards the end of times. Please make dua for us. I've been wanting to do my second episode for the save your families from the hellfire, but there's so many things on my mind, exam and everything. Inshallah, soon I'll sit down and record something. Inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. إن الله يرزقنا منافع وعملا خالصا وإلى أرواح معاني من مشايخنا وذكرائنا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد.